Tanner says late again. Whatever, Tanner.
What the heck he says?
I don't think so. Come on. My clock says 7:00.
7. Well, he must have. He's going to the seconds. You know what I mean? 7 o'clock.
Well,
no, that's what he's doing.
He must live out there in the Eastern time zone, right?
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
He's way out there.
Man,
what are you wearing, dude? What's going on over there?
Look at my shirt.
Well, look at my shirt.
Look at my shirt. Look at this. Yeah,
what's going on there?
The CEO of TNS Race Cars gave me $300 to wear this shirt.
Is that right?
Yeah. And did I say $300 or $25?
You said 300.
No, he gave us $25 to wear this shirt tonight. So I'll make sure you get half.
Well, he told me he'd give me $25.
Yeah, that's
he must have told you to tell Gary it's $25.
It was 25.
Well, does this mean we're part of the we're on the TNS payroll, right?
Team Phillips.
Woo, man.
Woo! Yeah. Look at this.
Man,
look at this.
What do we got? Tony Phillips looking good, boys. You bet.
Woo! That's right.
Man,
That's right.
hey, you guys were looking good, Tony. Man, oh man.
You guys are rolling. Welcome to the 20s. Here you go. Welcome to the 20s. 425.
All that hard work.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Man. I see some people blinging in. Who do we got?
Oh, Mr. Harper, Zach West, Shannon Wise. Hey, Shannon. Hey, Mrs. Harper. Tony says, thank you. Man, Tony, it was cool watching you guys.
Oh, yeah. It was cool hanging out with Goose.
Tanner says, I waited 30 seconds to call you.
We're going to get an atomic clock.
Yes. Tony says the transmission is out of the car at the moment. All right.
Oh, okay. All right.
What do you got? Like you said, 5 races in a row coming up.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So stuff's got to be on point.
Yes, sir. Ready to roll.
And the good news is I can hear everything right now. I can hear.
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Nice.
Zach says, so how fast did limited 275 go? Whoop. You want to hit that now or get there in just a second?
Well, the Rich Frost, he reset the record, right? 457 is what he went, 168-ish and some change. And testing, I went a 458, but I couldn't find it during the elimination.
That was Friday night, right?
Yeah.
458. Yep.
So he's still the champ. So that's who we're chasing.
Yep. And there were 7 cars in the class, right?
Yeah, 7 cars. And I think there was 11 or 12 in Outlaw.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7 cars in limited. And it was just good to get back at the racetrack. So, good to be going there. That's right.
Damn small block Ford.
I know it, man. We were sitting there too, like Spaniac, and there was like 7 cars. I think 4 of them had SBFs in them. You know what I mean? So representing.
It's just a cute little small block Ford.
That's it. Air in, air out. You're getting a Gen 2 small block Ford ready. So.
Yep. Working on it. Troy says, what's up, fellas? I'm actually on YouTube 3 minutes early. All right.
Nice.
Tanner still beat you to the comment.
Yeah.
Larry Hunt likes our shirts.
Man, look at that.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Woo!
Them TNS boys.
That's right. We got this from the CEO of TNS.
CEO Goose.
Personally.
Man, Goose.
We should have.
Man, you're right. Hey, you know what else? I'm glad I got a 2X because.
Oh, yeah?
It's good across the shoulders. I like how it fits. I don't think an XL would have felt as good.
Oh yeah, too much Waffle House over the weekend.
Too many waffles. Yes.
Too much Waffle House.
Hey, I unpacked my bag.
Yeah.
I put the laundry in the laundry. I put this shirt on top of the dresser.
Okay.
Because I'm going to wear it tonight. And Tiffany goes inside and she comes out the garage. She goes, "What is that on my dresser?" she knows what I wear. I wear black and gray shirts. This is way off the wall.
Yeah.
What on my dresser?
Hey, that's why we're wearing them. And seriously, Tony, we were trying to scheme it where when you guys went up in eliminations, we were going to walk up with you guys. You know what I mean, with the shirts on.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out, but that was our little thought there. But anyway.
Well, the round that you didn't make it past.
Yeah.
You was back in the way. You guys were behind the class, the 8.5 cars even, and I went up to Goose and Stanley. I said, "Hey, if Rod wins this round, I'm coming up next round in the orange shirt." Oh, they loved it. Oh yeah, they were digging it.
Yeah. Well, Goose comes up to me. I don't know, totally different times. Man, that guy, he like stirred it up, and he comes up to me with a pocket full. He goes, "Hey, I got 200 this round on us. Who you got?" And I was like, "Well, who'd you get? You know?" And he goes, "That don't matter. I got 200. You want in?" And I was like, "Well, who you racing?" He goes, "We got the buy." And I was just like, "Oh, okay."
He's a hoot. He is so funny.
Man. Golly, good stuff. Oh, Larry Hunt loves our shirts.
Yep. He says sweet looking shirts.
That's awesome.
Tony Whitmore giving away. Hey, Tony.
Man, Tony won some rounds, right? Racing 580.
Yeah. Tony, where did you end up? We didn't see where you ended up on the 580 stuff, but you were going rounds, it looked like.
Yeah, he was.
They would call the class up and we'd see you drive away over there on the north side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, what a good time that was.
Yeah, it was good to be back out. What did we decide? Into June was the last time we let go of the training break, all the way to September, July, August. That's too long. Third round, all right.
Okay. Went out third round, man. Good job.
Yep, good job.
Another SBF.
Yep, representing.
Going rounds.
Yep.
Tony says had a blast just playing in the old turd. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
We got some new names watching. Hey, Jake Mason is watching. Hey, Jake.
Yeah. Went to the finals.
Yep.
Went to the finals.
Donna Folkman Barker. Hello, Donna Folkman Barker. Gerald Cooper. Russell Foreman. Hey, Russell.
Russell.
Welcome to the orange shirt night.
Yeah, we got this. So, Russell, if you can give us a shirt, we'll definitely wear it.
Dude, I was thinking it's going to say the same thing. Y'all send us your race car shirts, and we'll wear them.
Put them on. The CEO guy on this. Oh, yeah. Man, it was good seeing see Mason there. Yeah.
Yep. Jake, good to see you, man.
Yeah, it was good seeing everybody for real, getting back into it. Saw the Browns, Cameron, Whitmore's, Waffle House. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Amy. Waffle House. Waffle House was delicious.
Yeah. Man, I got this new chocolate milk too with the whipped cream.
Oh, you do? Dude, it's like that's a bling bling foo-foo drink there at Waffle House.
Yeah, golly.
Is that even on the menu?
I don't know. After midnight, everything's off the menu. Oh man, look at this.
Hey, that's a deal, Russell.
XL.
2X over here, O'Gare.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a deal.
Right. Man, Russell, getting your car figured out. It was cool seeing the wagon up close. Got that figured out on 5.0s. I think I saw that's what it went. That's just awesome, man. Father-son team. I'm jealous. That's just good stuff right there. Yeah.
Larry, what's Larry got? Larry says black and orange shirts remind you if peanut butter candy you always have left in the bottom. Oh, that's that nasty little candy corn crap.
Candy corns? Yeah. That's coming around. You need to start buying it now. Yeah. That's right. Woo. I can wear this shirt out for Halloween.
Halloween, that's right.
Street, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you're walking across the street in this shirt and you get hit by a car, you got a good case. You know what I mean? You say, hey, Judge, come on. Hey, he had to see me. Come on.
Yeah.
Crazy. Cool. Funny. What do we got for pictures?
Yeah. Well, let's roll up here and get a ripping here so we can get to our awesome, amazing. You know what number this is, Rod? You know how long we've been doing this?
How long have we been doing this?
This long. This, hey, for real.
I know you know.
In in 2 more Sundays and 3 days, it'll be 1 year.
1 year.
The first one we did on a Wednesday.
Right.
Well, I won't say Wednesday. I'm hitting the calendar date, the 24th, whatever that day. It fell on us, whatever, but it doesn't matter. But almost a Sunday, and this is show number 50.
50.
Man, 50 already. Oh, and also with that, I did some looking on my notes in my little spreadsheet. This is number 50 we've done. There hasn't been 50 guests each time. We started a little chit chat and that kind of stuff we did. Yeah. Okay, so out of 50, we've had 33 different guests. You're counted as one of them because you had your own show.
Right, yeah.
And some of those shows.
That's when no one showed up. That was that show.
Well, so 33 different guests, but some of those shows was 2 at a time, like Alan, Larry, right. You know, Adam and Tony, some of those were 2 at a time, but 33 different guests out of 50 shows.
That's awesome.
I thought I was kind of curious how that broke down, how many different people,
and it worked out perfect because Chris Maybrier, right? The owner of Mad.
We planned this
for number 50. I mean, that's just awesome.
Yep. It's a special number, a special milestone. So we wanted to grab a special person to talk to.
Heck yeah.
And he's a big part of why this rolled out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's catch a couple comments here. Okay. Here's Ray Parsons. Nice to meet you, fellas. Ray, thanks for coming over and chatting. Nice to meet you. Got a face and a name.
Yeah.
And your cool Camaro, man.
Yeah. Hey, and just to piggyback, me and Gary talked about this, and there was others, but you coming up and just talking to us for a minute, talking about the show, motivates us. That just we're high-fiving, and that just makes us just want to do better for this deal, and we're excited for it. So we got a lot of good energy from over the weekend.
Yep, lots of good feedback. Russell says we were on the struggle bus. I think we had to work on the bus too. Oh no.
No doubt.
Man.
Yeah.
Does the bus have nitrous on it also?
Yeah. Well, I got 2 predictions for Camp Nitrous Mafia that Russell before the end of the year is going to go get a personal best. So that's better than a 17, I want to say, 900%. And the wagon will definitely be in the 4s before the end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's close.
That they're going to do. Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
They're picking away at it.
Yeah, definitely. Go.
Second Gen Outlaws. How's it going, fellas? That's Cole Keller and Cole Carpenter.
Yep. Yeah, Carpenter boy. Hopefully you guys can make it to the 28th to Mid-America Dragway. There's a bounty on a record and $5,000 with your name on it. If you want to come get it, you can hold off these Missouri boys.
Yeah, that's going to be a great race. I hope all them guys we saw at Tulsa can come over and
it's already locked it in, and I know Tony Phillips is on right now. Let's see if we can get a verbal confirmation from him right now.
They mentioned it.
Yeah, because I know they got 5 races coming up.
Yep. Yeah, they're gonna be busy, man.
4 now, with yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. Keep it in mind for sure.
Just keep it in mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep the tank full and just hammer down. Ben says a future show live from PRI with scooter races. Rodney wasn't there that year, but
maybe we can hook back up with Devin Vanderhoof at PRI and do a show.
Maybe.
Yeah, from the Davis booth. I don't know. That's asking a lot.
Yeah, he's a busy fella. Let me get back here to. So you're racing a little bit.
Yeah.
I would say the presence of your car was a huge success.
Yeah.
With the reaction on the appearance we got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about over there?
I know what I'm talking about, golly, and everybody kind of knows, but Gary's been on me for a minute to get polished wheels on the car, and even before the 2 days before when I was going to do it, kind of got permission from the boss, and we're going to put some wheels back on it. And even a day before I made pulled the trigger, I told myself, like, after Tulsa, you're going to wish you'll do this. And to me, it just seems like a whole different look just by changing the wheels.
It is. Oh man,
I just can't believe it.
Jared liked it too. Jared was digging
it from, my team white Mustang brother there. So
yes,
yeah, we got a lot of comp.
Woo! Look at that.
It looks good.
I should have snagged that picture that Tanner sent one here just later this afternoon from Tulsa in the pits, and the wheels are black, obviously last year, and it just doesn't look the same. It's so different.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim.
What do we got here? Cameron says, now we're talking. Car looks good.
Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate it.
Jim likes the wheels.
I appreciate you coming over and looking at them during when we're hanging out in the pits.
Not as pretty as Gary. I don't know about that.
Man, I don't know if I can hang with Gary for real. Come on, man. Yeah. He's got a personal stylist in house. So
woo, I do, man.
Yeah.
Mike Peters, exactly which lottery did Roddy win? I must have missed that announcement.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, your car looks good, man. It got good reactions.
Yeah.
People noticed it.
And I was a little nervous driving it around. This was Friday night where we still got to push it, but and man, no issues. So I was super happy about that. And
yeah,
one time I even asked the guys to push me up that little hill going up to Tulsa, and Gary's like, just run the starter and drive it up there. And I'm like, all right. So no problems.
Well, and then Goose was in the tech lanes there trying to call you out.
Oh, he did call me out. He's like, hey, I see you coasting. You're shutting it off.
You're supposed to drive it.
He's coasting. He's calling me out, taking pictures. Yeah. I seen him on the little, like the security deal, like, like when they're guarding the president. And he's like, he's coasting. Yeah.
Well, before you come up, he come over and I'm sitting there in front of your car on the golf cart, just chilling. I was putting that reel together.
Yeah.
And he come up and he goes, no, you're over here breaking the rules. And I look and I was like, what? Because the nose is past the white line or what?
Uh-huh.
No, you're supposed to drive it up here. And he went up here and coasted up here. You're supposed to drive it.
Oh man!
I was like, well, he's down there. You got to talk to him. And then Rich coasted up also, and he went down there and hammered Rich and Jackie.
There's another one. You damn walk forward. You got to quit coasting around.
I said, you need to go down there.
Oh, that's awesome, man! And shout out to Metcalf too. Those doors are flawless. I mean, the black, the mirrors he redid, all of that. And it added 700 pounds exactly. So it was perfect.
Oh, man, it did.
Yeah.
Tony said, if it was red and black. That would look good, red and black, right?
There you go.
Yeah, it was so heavy. It
it blew out a trailer tire.
There you go. I don't know if you wanted to say that.
But yeah, no, we rolled out, got off Mulvane, going by the casino, and we heard this little poof or something, and it's like, holy cow, what was that? And pulled in right there at the little truck stop thing, and damn, out of tire. Wasn't even 10 minutes into the drive. Like, well, I guess we're changing the trailer tire right here. So
putting the tire on
in them damn doors,
you haven't had any trouble. Nothing is different except them doors. It had to be the weight of them doors, smashing them tires.
Yeah, just loading it. But we got it changed. Got on the way. Yep. Got a little shop in town there in Owasso. Through another
Hibden Tire.
Yeah, while we went to Cracker Barrel. So set. Cool. Yeah, good pictures. I appreciate it. This is a good picture right here. This is Saturday.
Saturday night.
Yeah, 4 eliminations. So it's a good shot there. Everybody hanging out, waiting. Yeah. All those golf carts and nothing for them to do, you gotta drive it around. So.
That's right. all old lazy guys around.
That's it. That's it.
All right. We was talking about Foreman a little bit ago.
Yeah.
James had a post. James posted this. What a hell of a weekend is all I'm going to say, but nobody going to wipe the smile from my face. New mile per hour personal best, Andy T 509 at 140 and just getting started.
Man.
Thanks to everyone for help this weekend. Thank you. They're coming with that Malibu, so keep an eye on it.
All right, here, personal best. Here we go.
Personal best. Good job, James and Foreman crew.
Woo! Good job, James Russell.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got a question for you.
Go ahead, caller.
Being at the racetrack this weekend, what was the highlight that for you personally? What was your highlight? I've got an easy highlight. What was yours?
Man, I think for me, I said, man, I was kind of, I wanted to be in the finals, so I'm still kind of,
Yeah.
Seriously, personal highlight for the car itself was having no issues, unloading it. I did go the 58. I felt like we were setting ourselves up on Friday night for Saturday. But that's all that.
You see Cameron. His highlight was seeing me. But correct answer. You're the winner.
You are the winner. What I was going to say for real before even Cameron chimed in is just seeing everybody, because we haven't seen everybody for like 3 months. So on a personal, on a racetrack deal, it was, not having any problems with the car. On the be human side, being personal, is seeing everybody, man. It's like a family, and not only that, but like we talked about 10 people or so that came up and, just talked about the show, and
oh yeah.
That was cool. What about you?
And I want to finish this with Cameron. Cameron, you're right. You're the big winner. Send us your shirt. and you two can be seen on Sunday night, 7:00.
You probably got about 100 of those luxury shirts. You know what I mean?
I don't have any, man. Come on.
What? Come on.
And you know what else?
Old standard up there, platinum with luxury.
You know about them luxury shirts. You know what I like? The color combo, the black and the green.
Oh yeah, that looks
I like
good.
that color. Well, look at our screen. Look at our layout screen here. It's the carbon look, black and the green.
Yeah,
that stuff pops. I like it.
There you go.
Okay, so my highlight, just as the weekend, not obviously I ain't racing. What do we got here? Cameron says we got a whole room full of gear. Come on by the shop.
Come on by the shop. There you go.
10-4, buddy.
I have a new wardrobe. Tiffany.
That's all right. Don't tell my wife. maybe I get her one too. So at the race, helping you, the 458 was awesome Friday night.
Sure.
That's not my highlight. It would have been cool to capitalize, but we're just getting started. It's baby steps. It'll come.
Well, Goose said that's why they call it racing, not winning.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the highlight that I saw for me goes with this next picture.
Okay. The
highlight for me was the Phillips crew.
Right on.
Gaining what they did. They went, they had a great time weekend at Titans of 10-5 race at Tulsa, made it into the 20s. They ran a 4:28, which is a personal best. First time in the 20s. Won first round, second round. And then they went on to go a 4:25.
Woo!
Man. So if you wasn't on the starting line to see the excitement from that crew going them 4:20s, that was awesome to see.
Yeah.
So that's a highlight personally for me seeing was that crew putting that together and going them 20s. That was really cool to see.
That's awesome. Well,
they're making big moves.
422 to 425. Hello.
Yeah.
I mean,
making big moves there with that.
Yeah. Congratulations. TNS.
Yep.
Can you see that?
And they go on to right there. Zoom in if you think they're right there. Yep. They say thanks to everyone who helped make it possible. Now on to the teens. We will be back in action next weekend at Ozark Raceway Park for Street Machines.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Great job.
Great shout out.
Yep. Larry Hunt says Adam Phillips is a wheelman.
Yeah.
That's right. Good job, Adam and crew.
Cool. Good.
Oh, here. Yep. Moving on. This was a picture sent to, was it Matt send that to you from up in the stands, I think?
I think Chad did on that one.
Oh, Chad did. Okay. Little up high staging lane picture there.
Yeah.
Yep. Tony says, thanks, Joe. And you're welcome, Tony. Man, you guys did great.
You earned it.
That's right. Was this a chip draw? Is that what's going on here?
That's right. Going on there. First round for Outlaw.
Cameron says
11 or 12 in that one.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Cameron says that whole crew is awesome. That whole family is always there supporting each other. Class act. Yep.
Yeah. Well said.
Yep. Agree. A little shout out. What was just said there with Ozark is we'll show this again next weekend. Is the 33rd annual Tim Slavens Memorial Street Machine Nationals.
Yeah.
Featuring Scott Palmer and the Nitro Circus. That's coming up next weekend. A lot of them guys we race with will be there. So it's going to be a great show down there. You got other engagements going on for that weekend. And
this is definitely a bucket list race, though. We're going to have to put it in for next year.
Yeah. Yep.
Now that I got the 700 pounds on the car, I should be able to fit right in and stuff. So.
Yep. It should go down a dirt road, right?
Oh, yeah.
All that weight. Mid-America Dragway was involved at the Midwest Bracket Finals, and Rocky Randall wins the sportsman class, right? Yep, sportsman champion. So Mr. Harper messaged me a while ago and said Rocky will go to Alabama next month, I think he said, and Chris Harper can verify this. He's going for the World Championship next month. So
that's awesome.
Good job, Rocky Randall.
Local boy getting it done. Got the the race for the rod right there. And
the
check going on to the World Finals.
You can try to get you one of them in a few weeks here, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a cool piece.
Make it happen. Got to go race with all the sharks like Cameron.
Yep. Also, Mid-America Dragway, they posted this September 13th. That's Friday. That's Friday night coming up. September 13th, Mid-America Dragway, test and tune. Gates open at 5:30. Testing starts at 7. Tech card is $40. That's this Friday at 7 o'clock. Nice. Weather should be getting real nice for all this kind of stuff.
This is the time of year. Football, fall, all the pumpkin.
Sweatshirt, hot chocolate.
Get your hot chocolate, your lattes. Let's go. That's when the good air comes in. What was the air? For real. Like, it was good.
Yeah, we saw 2,200 feet for a little bit, and then I think it fall into like 1,900 or so a little bit, but it was
a little even
17 maybe.
Later on.
Tanner, I think Tanner was watching that pretty close. He'd probably know, but
yeah,
it's coming down.
It is,
you know, you spend all summer.
Right?
I got something I'd call it, but I won't say it.
No, they call it turbo air. That's what they call it.
Oh, geez.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Tony was watching.
Yeah, Tony says it got to 1,200. Okay.
Yeah.
But we spend all summer at 3,000 plus. So
exactly.
49 water grains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice when you can breathe under 2,000.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Well, that's all we got for that extra stuff. Everything else involves Mr. Maybrier.
Cool. Right on time. 7:30. Another thing I just thought about while you're talking about the Phillips is that watching Tito after Junior made that pass. I don't know all the players, but he had the 4th gen, right? And went in the 20s during Saturday testing, I want to say. I might be wrong. Maybe it was Friday night.
I think that was Friday.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, people were just clapping on the starting line and saying good job and stuff. It was just great moment.
Like a 422 at 180 or something like that.
He said Tito came over and we kind of locked eyes and he came my way and we just sat there for a second and he had to burn one right there. He had all the energy. He just kind of shit it over and he sat there smoking one and I was like, man, that was a good hit. And he goes, man, that's a torque arm car, and went a 101 60 foot.
Man.
Yeah, Tito knows what's up.
And that somebody said it used to be a nitrous engine. It got some rework done a little bit and some turbo slapped on, and bam, there you go.
Yeah.
A really impressive piece.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I just saw something here. Shane Gilstrap just busted in.
Oh, hey, Shane.
And remember Shane with the series with Trey back in the day?
Yeah.
A little shout out to Shane right there. Oh man, that was some good stuff back then.
That was.
Yeah.
Shane says, "Hey guys, hey Shane, man, Shane, you really should make a point to come down to Arc City in a few weeks and watch that great racing.
You bet.
It'll be some fast cars, man. You'd enjoy it.
The MSRA.
Sorry, yep.
Yeah.
A few moons ago, boy. That's right.
Man, that's awesome.
Yep.
It's a good little series that kept us going in the, in the 99, 2000, 01 era. Right
Shane,
there.
for real, you really should think about coming to one of these races. You would have a good time.
Yeah. You can hang in my pit anytime you show up.
Yep. You'd like it. It's a lot of fun. Fast stuff. What's crazy how fast it's got.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, Todd Kitchen came over and talked to us for a little bit.
Right.
And that's a name from the past too, Kurt's brother. And I got to see him and Christy and the family, and just, we were in his town. So he came over and got to visit for a little bit. Of course, he still got the Firebird, and his second generation's coming up with their little car. But I'd like to see that car back out as well.
Okay, there's Shane. Shane says it was a ton of fun. I'll try and make it. Been living in Omaha for the last 4 years. Okay.
Okay.
It'd be a little tough to pull that off.
Good call.
But right on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Shane says, were you all at Southern Nationals? No, I don't know what that is.
Cool.
No, is my answer.
So number 50.
Number 50.
We asked Chris Maybrier to come on, hang with us for a little bit, talk about his career, life, family, dad,
racetrack,
how we got here. And you ready to kick that off?
Let's kick it off with Mr. Chris Maybrier. Let's move out of the way here and make room for Chris.
All right.
Hey, Chris Maybrier.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Oh man, you're welcome.
Thanks for coming on. Glad it all worked out.
Excited to be here. I full disclosure, you guys did your first show, and man, I was kind of run over. I'm like, man, this is awesome. There's nobody in the area doing anything like it, and what a terrific service and a union for everybody in our area. That's a gearhead, and perfect timing. Sunday night, everybody's kind of resting, relaxing for the next work week. Unfortunately, we all have to work like bandits to afford this sport. So hats off to you guys. You guys have done a tremendous job with this thing, and I think it's just awesome. So thank you.
Thank you,
man. Thank you for saying that.
It means a lot coming from you.
And we talked about meeting Ray Parsons down at Tulsa, and he said the same thing you just said. The community, just he really enjoys having this in our community. They're way down there and we're over here, but we're all intertwined with the racetracks and race cars. And he's like, man, this is really awesome what we're doing. So it was really nice to hear that.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, you've seen the show, Chris, and so we kind of just bring people on, and we appreciate you giving us the pictures to get it set up. And we try to go all the way back to the left and kind of how you got into it. It's your story. You can just say anything you want to say, and we'll just keep asking questions as they pop up, and we'll get comments in. And at the very, very end, whenever we finish up, we'll give you a moment to thank anybody you want to thank and how you got here and to support you.
Well, I don't think that I don't think I stood a chance in the long run. My dad was a big gearhead growing up, and they didn't have a whole lot. And so my dad, here he is in junior high school, and talks grandma and grandpa into letting him have a bedroom in the basement of the house. And dad's a pretty mechanical guy, he's taught me the majority of what I know over the years. And so he goes downstairs, goes in the unfinished, fashions himself his own shower, he's got a garden hose right next to the sump pump and all this stuff, and so he starts getting into motors. And he kind of made friends with a guy that had a salvage yard. So he shows up to the salvage yard, and he's like, what are you going to do with all that junk over in the corner? Well, if you want to take it, and finally he's like, if I take that motor apart over there, can I have the bearings out of it? Sure, kid. Piston rings, all that stuff, and so he said, hell, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to do it, you know, and he's never been afraid to just jump in and tackle anything. And that's one of the things that he's taught me. So he keeps bringing all these little pieces and parts into the basement of the house. And Grandpa, he's gone now, but he would tell this story and he goes, I didn't know what the hell he was doing down there. I just knew he was hauling stuff down there. He said, pretty soon I watch him walk by and he's got the battery out of my car. So my dad's got he's got this engine that he's put together. It's on Haydite blocks. He takes the battery out of Grandpa's car.
Oh no.
And he starts this engine up in the basement of the house. I mean, kudos to him. He got it done. But, oh, my grandma, she was mad. Oh, and the house stunk, you know, because of all the smoke. And couldn't believe it even ran, you know, used rings, bearing. Who knows if they were standard 10, 20. He didn't know anything about it. So that's kind of where it all started. And you know, he kept messing with cars and things of that nature, and then got to a point in high school. His junior and senior year, he got into actual drag racing and had a 5 Chevy. It was just a shell of a car. He bought it for $10.
Oh.
Yeah, for real. No windshield.
Is that it?
That's it. That is one of the only 2 existing photos of that car.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So he puts this thing together out in the driveway, you know, and a 265 small block Chevy V8, a 4-speed transmission, and he had a tow bar on the front of it. Tow it out to the racetrack. He said, "Man, I had to replace the rear end. I wore the rear end out towing that damn thing to the track." You know, when I finally started getting into it, I said, "Well, 265, you know, the thing would wind pretty good." What were you shifting at? He goes, 8,500. I go, 8,500? Yeah, because that's where the tax stopped.
Is that what you're doing, Rodney?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
The best advice is don't even look at it.
Yeah, you don't want to know, right? So he, honest to goodness, I'm not sure what class, you know, back then they had all the weight and horsepower classes and all that, but you know, the national record was like either a 1317 or a 1315, or I'm backwards, a 1313 or a 1315, and he ran like a 1315 or a 1317. He was so literally 200ths off of the record with the thing.
Wow.
So he had it running good, and had I don't know if you've heard the name Pappy Klein.
Oh yeah.
Had him involved in it. You know, I think the deal was that he would guarantee if you bring your car to him that he could lose a 1/10 of a second at least. You know, and
Okay.
so anyway, right out of high school, him and Mom, they get married. They met at South High School sweethearts, and so you know, he's like, "Well, we're getting married. I need to sell this race car because they didn't have nothing, you know." And he made a deal with the guy. The guy said, I'll buy it. You know, they agreed on a price. And, you know, on a 55 Chevy, if you have a V8 car, how close the distributor cap is to the firewall. And so, you know, that genre invented the idea of having to chain the motor down in the front. And so he says, well, I want to take it out for one more race. Okay. So he takes it out there. He said, I'll be dang. He said that chain broke. The distributor come into the firewall, it cocked the distributor, blew the motor up.
Oh
Man.
dang.
So he said, I had to part that one out, you know. So that's literally probably the car that is responsible for us owning a racetrack and making bad financial decisions all of our life. But yeah, $10 for that car back in probably 66 or 7, probably.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, a little piece of history there, and he did well with it. So yeah.
Nice.
Any idea where the car went and where it's at now?
No idea. No idea. You know, we he started into business, and with our flooring store, and really kind of bought my granddad out and really got Harry Street carpet on its feet.
Right.
And from there on, he just really was a business and a career man, and worked really hard to get the roots in the ground. And if you fast forward, when I was 13, didn't have a driver's license yet, but my first vehicle, I had a 57 Chevy half-ton pickup, 283 4-speed. You see the pattern here.
Yeah.
And anyway, it needed a couple of fenders, and we were over in Wellington, and I looked over across the street behind some old buildings. There were some old trucks over there, and I said, hey, could you pull over there? There's an old truck over there too. Maybe they got a fender like what I need. And so we pulled over there. Of course, they were the wrong body style. But I looked down the street, and here sits, I have no idea. I'm 13. And I look down there, and there's this maroon colored 68 Chevy Camaro. It's got slicks on it.
Ooh.
I look down there, I go, Dad, what is that? He goes, well, that's a Camaro. And I was like, that doesn't look like a regular, drive it around car. He goes, well, it looks like it's set up for drag racing, son. I go, and I looked at him and I said, you did this in high school. I said, why don't we race? And he looked at me and he just said, son, we have a business, we have rental properties, we have cattle, we farm. We do not have time. I said, okay, can we look at it? So we go down there and look at it. And we're looking at it, and he's kind of looking at me, and I was like, man, this. So needless to say, that car was purchased that day. And so I was 13. And so Dad started racing that car. And I don't know if there's any pictures that I sent you of that. And people that have been around me, they've seen the car. I still own it to this. Oh gosh, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Looked like I was last week.
That's a blast from the past. That would be like 7. Wow. And so
wait a second. What's your arm say? Does that say 91?
97.
7.
Oh, 97. Whoa.
Don't make it worse than it is, Gary.
Yeah. No. 91.
I was just,
so he starts racing the car, and it's got a 396 in it. And we don't know anything about it, but he's out there racing this thing. And second weekend out, he takes it to Wichita and absolutely, completely, and totally windows the motor. And it went faster than it did when the other guy had raced it. So he was still pleased. So we traded a house full of carpet for a 427 that was built.
Oh, there you go.
nice.
And so he raced that for a while, and eventually, down there at our place, we were down there, and the area where you go back, into the pits, everybody kind of goes down and warms their cars up. Well, that's always kind of been that sort of thing. And my older sister Susan, she told my dad, she goes, I might kind of want to race one day. And he goes, well, get in. We'll go down there and you can just kind of play with it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
So they go down there and he's teaching her kind of how to drive it. She gets on it. Well, it drops a valve.
Oh, no.
So he looked over at Susan and says, well, you bought a race motor, jokingly, but yes, you bought this motor. And so she ended up with the motor. I bought the car at that point, and I had turned 14. Now, this is where I get into probably my greatest story ever told. I was the oldest 16-year-old in the world. When Richard Dowler had the track, I had bought this car, and my dad was like, well, you ever think about having a high school class, and Richard's like, well, I don't know if we could get anybody to show up, and so finally Dad's like, well, just have just a trophy or something, so he talks him into having a high school class. So there's really just me and this other fellow that shows up, and he's got a Corvette. And for 3 weeks down there, we raced, and I won every weekend, and he quit showing up. I mean, I really kind of, now I look back on it, it's kind of like, man, that was kind of a bad deal, because everybody should get a chance,
Sure.
And so we'd show up there, and Dad's like, well, there's nobody for him to race, and Richard's like, hey, you can't really get into competition. Back then we had bracket 1, bracket 2. He said, well, you really can't do that, he's not old enough. And Dad goes, well, you could, and if you know my dad, he's kind of not kind of, he's a salesman. He could sell salt to a slug in a drought. So he says, well, we'll just fill out the tech card, say he's 16. So legitimately, I was 16 for 3 years. The oldest 16-year-old. I don't know if you guys remember the announcer that Dowler had, Gary James.
Okay.
And he's the one that came up with that. So I was the oldest. I was the oldest 16-year-old, and that's where I really got started. And Mom and Dad got me involved in that stuff to keep me out of trouble.
Sure.
And it worked. I mean, I really, to this day, I've had one speeding ticket, and I wasn't even in a hurry. I just wasn't paying attention. It got me. It got it out of my system, and I didn't have any desire to speed. I didn't really have time to go out and get in trouble because I was so busy. I was either out working, trying to earn money to pay for racing parts, fuel, all that kind of stuff, tech cards. And I mean, it worked. It kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
So that's really where we really started into it. And at the time, when I was in high school, that picture you got up there, I was racing that car, and my dad had his 80 Monza, his Pro Mod, had a small block, a 355 motor with steel turbo heads and a glide and a thing. It went 860s and like it was on a string, but with a 95-inch wheelbase. I mean, it was stupid. I drove it one time, and I was like, nah, you can have it. I'm good. And my sister had a couple different Camaros. She had a real slick 67 Camaro she started out with. I think it was one of the cars that James Kunkel raced, but she bought it from Jason Daniels. Then we figured out that the big block was just too much for the way the car was set up. So then she ended up with a chassis car, and they've since then, her and her husband, they've sold it, and they've got a Corvette. So if they want to get out and drive around on the weekends, they can get in that and go off and do their thing. So
nice.
Yeah. And so, we just kind of went forward. Everybody that knows me, I'm more of a into the bracket racing stuff. When I was just out of high school, I actually sold that car and bought another Camaro, a red one that I kind of wanted in street legal deal, tubbed out, has cage in it. And I thought at that time, that was back when you had like, Pat Musey and, help me out, Tony Christensen.
Fastest streetcar.
Absolutely. And I saw that, and I was like, man, that is so cool. And I wanted to do that. And so I got into the nitrous thing. And I mean, that's back when Chilo was running around, and so I played with that stuff for a little while. And, it's a lot of work, it's a ton of work, and it's not just maintenance. I mean, you're constantly checking stuff, and eventually I realized that I just didn't have deep enough pockets, and, being just a kid right out of high school. And so I got back into the bracket racing thing, and I bought this car back. And I still own it. I still have it. In fact, I just over the winter I've replaced all the suspension and did it all up, and so so you go from there. And then I went from that red car back to this car and raced it, and then went to a all fiberglass, a green, about the same color as your lettering.
I've got those pictures.
68 Chevy Camaro, and
this is another Camaro you sent here.
So that's the red. That's my red car. So that's the car that I sold the other one to buy.
Okay.
and I still have that car, and it's slick. It's street legal. It's now got a 565 pump gas deal.
Nice.
Can literally get in it. I could drive it down the highway for an hour. You wouldn't want to drive at 75 miles an hour, but it's comfortable. It drives good, but it's a slick car. And I thought, man, race cars get a lot of battle scars. Not very many people can keep their car as nice as Rodney's. You do it. It's like,
Thank you.
I guess maybe I'm a little too rambunctious, and so I thought, it'd be nice that I could just take the front end off, take the doors off, all that. So I bought a chassis car and got into that, and I bought this thing, and it was like, man, this is going to be really cool. And I got it, and it would not repeat. The car, it just would not work, and kind of went through it from front to back, and redid literally almost everything, and got it to where it was working. And then about that time, a friend of mine, you guys know Carl Jones, Buffco Incorporated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carl's puts one of his dragsters up for sale. He's like, yeah, try that. No, all my life I was like, you guys, race cars have doors on them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, he goes, oh, just, so I ended up buying that damn dragster. And you talk about somebody that had to eat a lot of crow. Holy cow, man! I got it coming and going for a long time, and I still have that. And in fact, it's been completely reworked, brand new body, new wiring, different gear set, motors fresh, changed a lot of stuff on it, and hope that I can get out and do some racing next year. And this year it just hadn't worked out.
Right.
If I back up to 20. I guess, I told you I couldn't keep this stuff in order, but
all right.
We were racing a lot. We'd always raced at Arc City. We worked Saturdays, and having Sunday racing there just really fit our program. And that track closed. And we just kind of parked everything, all of us, my dad, my sister, myself. We were running junior.
What year did it close?
So I believe it was 2000 or 2001.
Wow.
Yeah. Picture my son and I in the winner's circle.
The
last race is back when Woods had it. And we that day, we both won the race. Grant won junior dragster category, and I won super pro. And with that, we both also won the points for each class.
Wow!
So that was a huge day. That was like, man. I was tickled to win, but for both of us to win, that was just completely, totally off the charts. And so, but then nothing happened. No, nothing. At the end of the season, it was all over with. No trophies, no nothing. And Woods kind of had to sneak out the back. I don't blame those guys a bit. Bill's health went bad, and the guy that owned the dirt that the track was sitting on kind of shafted those guys because he was just not interested in having a track on the property. The dirt changed hands, and at any rate, we just kind of parked everything. We went over to Mocan 3 or 4 times with the juniors, and I just really stepped away from it, and I was to the point where it's like, it's just. I told my wife, which, honest to goodness, there you go. That was a huge. That was a huge day, man. I tell you, for both of us to win and to lock up the points deals in both classes was just like, wow, awesome.
When I was putting this picture together, you know what I noticed on the dragster, and it's kind of funny, was I read the side of the dragster there, what it says. Grant Maybrier, Harry Street Carpet, Wichita, Kansas. We floor it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
We floor it.
That was the logo, it's like, we got to come up with something cool. Geez.
That's clever.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just a tremendous day for us, and so the kids, eventually my daughter decided she wanted to get into it, but to go back, um, you know, I got to the point where it's like, we have all this stuff, we're not using it, it's just sitting, and I tell my wife, and she has been just nothing but so supportive.
Mm.
I know I I know what the normal I can't say the normal, but a large percentage of the time what the normal dynamic is. And clear back when I was racing in junior high, we were dating.
Mm.
And so when she became part of my life, she was like, "Hey, I know that's just something that you do." And
Yep.
she came to love it.
Yep.
And she just he's well, obviously, with buying the track and all the work and effort that she's put in out there, and um, when we were building that place, she would come out there, and I would be like, "Well, what are you doing out here? Take a break, get away." She goes, "Well, I just know if I want to see you, I'm going to have to come out here,
Oh, there you
because otherwise, it was like we'd pass each other in the hallway every once in a
go.
while, but that was about it. But so it yeah. So that was the starter car for all three kids, and
Mm.
that when my youngest Levi, when we were getting him set up, and yeah, that brings back memories. Actually, just saw a couple of weeks ago, saw a picture of that car surface,
Mm.
and there's I think Elvin Leedy actually
Yeah.
has it. Might have got one of his grandkids set up in it if I remember right. But I saw that picture. I was like, oh man, I recognize that. That's so cool. It's still out there, And I think that might have even been Brendan Mock's first car,
Okay.
uh,
Huh.
if I'm not
Wow.
mistaken. Yeah. So it's there's a lot of history behind that little junior, and full disclosure on the junior dragster thing. Um, if I would have known how much work and effort one of those is, I'd have never bought the first one. But, but I am so glad that I did, because we had some really terrific times, and I kind of you kind of trick your kids into spending time with you before they know
Yeah.
what's going on. But we had a deal. It was like, guys, I'll help you with this, but the minute that you're not standing here helping me, I'm going to go get my stuff ready, and I'm going to go racing, and you're not. And
Right.
the kids, I mean, they all got it. They all got it. And I got to tell you, out of all three of them, though, really, my daughter, Haley, instead of standing there watching and teaching her, she would be like, well, give me the ratchet and tell me what to do.
There you go.
And she was a little bit more about the mechanics and doing the work than the boys were even. And so um, we built her a dragster. It's a hardtail car, but it's sitting in the shop. She's not been able to race it much. She started teaching school
Hmm.
and got married, and life's happening over there. So eventually we'll get a chance to do that. But she still has a lot of interest in it, and so hopefully we'll get a chance to get both of us out there to the track. And my son-in-law, he wants to do some of it too. So I'm hoping that we're able to get back to where it's a family affair thing again. And and my dad, he's getting along better. The poor guy, he had a hip replaced. He was in a lot of pain for a long time. For about a year and a half, he couldn't hardly do anything, and had his second hip replaced. And then 90 days later, I took him in, and he had back surgery. And
Mm.
uh, so he's had a full overhaul, and he's just now feeling like doing something again. So I'm hoping we get a chance to get out and do some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, is this picture at Mocan?
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
On a
Okay.
record. I know you said you guys went over there a few times.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. When our place was closed, for the longest time, I couldn't get away from work on Saturdays. With our carpet store, Saturday's a big day. With the retail business, and 2/3 of your business kind of gets started on Saturday. And
Mm.
so
Wow.
going to Wichita really wasn't much of an option, and so we just kind of had to search for places that would run on Sundays.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up over there a few times. And the like you guys just came back from Tulsa, yeah, it's a little bit of a drive, but you can't tell me that riding together in the truck, going to Tulsa and coming back, I mean, you guys made memories in the truck.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
part of the trip. Yeah.
that's part of the package. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I look at it like, well, you guys can't get away from me. You're stuck.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, even like the Waffle House, I mean, we have fun talking about it, but it's like we look forward to doing that on the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's kind of like a reality drag racing show that you've got going on there. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Here's a comment to catch here. Rick Hodges says, "I'm waiting for Team Harry Street to get back together."
So that is my father-in-law. That's my wife's dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a Malibu slick car, and I don't know if it was last winter or the winter before. Well, to backtrack, I was racing my red car, and my wife was pregnant with, I believe, my youngest, and it was miserable hot. It was like August, and I was like, man, I'd really like to go over on Sunday. There's a race over at Mocan this Sunday. I'd really like to go, but I said, I'm just going to go. She goes, well, I don't want you to go by yourself. And I go, gosh, dang, you're miserable already. I can't. And so I thought about it for a little while, and I said, I wonder if your dad would go. She goes, I think that's a great idea. And so I call him up and said, well, you want to go with me? I'm going by myself. Otherwise, I'm going anyway.
Right.
And he'd really never been to the races at all. Wasn't into the racing thing whatsoever. And so we jumped in the truck, drove over there, and he's like, well, what do you need me to do? I said, well, if you can just kind of help me keep an eye on tire pressure and keeping fuel in the car, keep the batteries charged in between rounds, and I said, it's really, unless something goes wrong, really not a lot of maintenance going down. If you're going bracket racing, it's nothing like what you guys do in between rounds. And so we went over and it was hot, but we had a good time. We get on the road, we're headed back, and we're not even on the road for 30 minutes. And he goes, I'm going to have to get me one of these. And I'm like, so literally, okay, so this is on Sunday, right? So I think it was like either Tuesday or Wednesday of the next week. He calls me, he goes, hey, can you meet me in Arc City and come look at this car with me? And I'm thinking, wow, man, he got bit fast and hard, and
Jeez.
yeah, so we went and looked at this car, and he ended up buying it, and he did a lot of work to it, and it was a high 12-second deal, and he did the first year. I can't remember. I think he might have won Sportsman. Rick, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on that, but he did really well, and but it's like everything. Want to go faster, want to go faster, want to go faster, and so. Anyway, over the winter, I think it was last winter. I'm losing track, but we built him a 383, and he took it out, and it went 1190s. So he's like, man, I'm in the 11s, and
Yep.
Yeah.
cool
Cross that barrier.
There you go.
Hopefully we can all get out. Like I say, it was a family affair for a long time, and yeah, there he is, 2009 sports. So good times. But when the track shut down, and life takes over too, and trying to support a family and do all that, and so I took a different path for a long time, and started having some back trouble, and I've had 3 back surgeries at this point in my life, and the big one was about 2.5 years ago. They finally went in, and I've got 2 titanium spacers, 2 titanium rods, and 6 screws. And it sounds horrible, and it was, but it's been one of the best things that could have happened. Oh,
Does it look like that?
there she is in the proof, and I had some discs that were just exploded out, and eventually I got down to where it was bone to bone. And man, I tell you what, my heart goes out to anybody that has that kind of thing going on, because man, and so getting healed up from that, it's been life changing. It makes you feel like you want to do some stuff again, but I've lost a little bit of range of motion, and I get stiff real easy.
Mm.
Be where like, man, I could just go for hours and hours and hours, and the next day I'm like, okay, I'm feeling now. It's just like,
Yeah.
nope, you're stiff now.
Yeah.
So, but I'm to the point where I think that I'm durable enough again that I can get back into my dragster and do that, and I really do want to. I just we've got two businesses essentially, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot. We've had a lot going on at work in Wichita, and you get to the end of the week, and sometimes I've never claimed to be a very smart guy, but you feel like somebody took the top off your head and stirred your brains with a wooden ladle and put the cap back on, and you just like, man, I'll tell you what, I know what I'm doing this weekend,
Yeah.
Right.
recovering, um, so we purchased the track in 2017. I was actually laid up after my second back operation,
Mhm.
and here I am and laying in my bed, can't really get around. I got my iPad and had more time on my hands than I should have, and of course I'm feeling sorry for myself. I missed the racetrack, and oh man, life sucks and everything's terrible. So I really started looking at it, and I kind of start looking around at some of the other facilities and what they were doing, and so I get this harebrained idea, and I call my dad. I said, hey, I know that I am on a lot of drugs right now, and I am under the influence. So you tell me if I am completely nuts or just partially nuts. But I said, that thing is just sitting there.
Yeah.
Couldn't we develop some kind of a plan? Maybe get a casino involved, get somebody involved. My initial idea was to get a casino involved to buy the entire 600-acre section and put in some kind of resort with the racetrack. And he goes, well, I don't think that's a terrible idea, but he goes, do you feel like getting out? And I said, yes, please come get me. Come get me. I was home by myself. And so he shows up, and I said, well, where are we going? He goes, well, we're going to go over to the courthouse. Let's just see how it's zoned just for the hell of it. So we go over and look up some of the legals on it, and we're kind of throwing ideas back and forth. And, he missed the facility being open too.
You bet.
And so anyway, we start trying to put together a plan, and so you start looking up who owns it, and at the time it was Don Irons and the Don Irons Trust, and they were from out in western Kansas. They were into the feedlot business, and it's like, well, we could contact them, and so we start putting this master plan together, and I don't know, some of you guys know my mom's got some pretty major health issues, and so my mom started not doing too good. And so we talked about it, and we're like, you know what? This just is not a good idea. It's going to be too much, and I think this is a sign that we just need to back off. And so we both agreed that this is just not probably a good idea. And so we kind of tabled the idea, and then several months forward, my mom started doing a lot better.
Mm.
And of course, I'm thinking, well, she's doing better. I wonder, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And I get it. So one day dad calls. Well, I've been thinking. I go, oh, shit. I have been.
Now he's on drugs.
We were both sober. That's the crazy thing, and so it's like, well, maybe we ought to maybe just do a little more exploring. Let's see if we can set up a meeting. Well, by this time, Don had passed away.
Mm.
And so we found out that his son Darren Irons was kind of in charge of all the property. They're big farmers in down here in Sumner County, and I think they do a lot up in McPherson County too. And so I reach out to Darren and hey, can we just sit down? Let's just sit down and have a conversation. Sure. He's in Oklahoma City, so we met for lunch one day in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Right.
And so we went in there, and of course, there've been several. We find out there's been several people that have approached his family,
Mm.
and but you hear some of these guys are like, well, I told them they're ruining the sport. You can't talk to people like that. You have to be like, look, here's what we want to do. And so from the start, his big thing and his dad's big thing was the liability of having the track. And in fact, when we sat down, they had plans to go ahead and sell the buildings off and have somebody tear them down, move the buildings off of the property, and they were going to remove some of the barriers. They wanted to put an irrigation pivot in the center of the property so they could irrigate all that farmland.
Oh, wow.
And they were literally probably 30 days away from implementing that plan.
Wow.
So we were like, okay, well, and I just said, well, here's the thing, y'all are afraid of the liability. We all know that people are driving around the gate and going in there and doing their thing. I mean, ask Farm Truck and Asian. I mean, at one point when we bought it, you could get on Google Maps and you could see where about at half track where the burnout pit was and which direction they were going. It was blatantly obvious.
Right.
And I just said, as long as you got that concrete down there and that asphalt, you're going to have that liability. And he said, he goes, you're right, and so we started talking. And guys, I'm going to tell you what, we walked out of there an hour and a half later with nothing but a handshake, and we bought it.
Wow.
And Dad and I we're both pretty windy. We can talk anybody to sleep. I think he's better at it than I am, though. We got back in the truck and it was silence.
Yeah.
We get back into we finally get back into the state of Kansas, and he was driving, and I was sitting over there thinking, oh my goodness, what have we? And he looks over and he goes, I don't know if I should be excited, terrified, or just sick to my stomach. And I said, yeah, I'm right there, because if you have some of those pictures, Gary, if you pull them up,
yes,
you could come onto the property, and from some areas, you couldn't tell there was any concrete out there.
Right.
There was so much weed growth. It was a mess. And, you've got a facility that sits in the center of a 600-acre field that had soybeans and stuff. It was overrun by rodents. The tower, I cut the floor out of the tower. It was rotted all the way around. The entry gate building, the ticket shack, I cut the floors out of those. I mean, the concessions building, I don't even want to give you the details. I mean, it was
look how ugly this is.
Wow.
Man.
Well, and the thing was too, you still in the concessions area, the refrigerator, all that stuff, still there.
Wow.
And
I've got those pictures.
For 7 years, somebody just locked it up one day, left, and never came back. And the refrigerator and the freezer still had supplies in them 7 years later.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and we had nothing but a huge amount of help and support from day one. At first we were like, we don't really want to let any of this get out. We need to come up with a plan. We need to be able to get our feet underneath us and figure out what we're going to do. And we thought we had an idea. We came from the racing background, and you guys have heard me say this before. Came from a racing background, but in 6 or 7 years, the sport evolved dramatically, and we were out of the loop. And so there was so much more. But as far as getting the facility rebuilt, that we've done stuff like this before, and so it was just a lot of work.
What was the time frame? When did you guys get the keys to the gate?
So we in 17, we actually really kind of got it right before the end of the year, I think. And we didn't get started. We waited till all the paperwork and the title work stuff was done. So we got started in I think it was February. It was still pretty damn cold outside, which was a good thing, because when we hauled that refrigerator out, it was hot outside. A friend of mine was helping me like, I wonder, and he cracks. I'm like,
No.
horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. And and of course, we get out there, we get started, and we realize that there's so much more than we anticipated, so much more stuff that needs to be done. And I'm standing there one night with my dad, and I said, well, at least we've got this whole year to work on it, and we can really put this thing together and do it right. And he looks at me, he goes, oh no, we're going to be open before the end of the year.
Oh.
Are you serious? He goes, yep, we can do it. I'm like, well, okay, all right. And we had a ton of support, had a lot of help, but let me tell you what, guys, grueling. Work in Wichita, and Dad would be down there all day long. I would come down after work if there was still daylight or anything I could do. And then I'm off of work Sundays and Mondays. That's where we were. My wife was there. We had a ton of help. And this went on, and we finally got open right before what used to be called Nostalgia Weekend.
Right.
Opening night, Friday, we're out there. We are still trying to bolt down seats in the VIP bleachers. And it rained. And I have never been so happy to see it rain out a race, because I was like, holy crap, we're not ready. We're trying, and it's not for lack of effort. I'm not going to mention any names of the people that helped us, because sure as heck, I'm going to forget somebody. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful for all the help that we had. I won't do that to anybody, but we had businesses that they're like, we shut down early. I'm bringing all my guys, whatever they can do to help. Wow. Just run over with help. And so fast forward the next night, Saturday night, opening night, and we get run over with people. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Yeah.
Everybody was just tickled to be there. The surface was new. It wasn't very good. We didn't have good rubber on it. We had gold dusted the whole track, rubbed the hell out of it. We didn't know yet that the asphalt was going to start falling apart when we started really working it over, and the concrete was all brand new, 300 foot of it. And it was just an amazing deal. So here we are Saturday night, you have a huge night, and still learning. I learned so many things. I can speak for myself that I've learned so many things the hard way, baptism by fire, so to speak. And before I knew much about timing systems, we had the old ETS system that was still there. Everything was there except for the tree. A lot of guys say, yeah, it's not a real good. It's like, yeah, but you know what? Everything's there. We can't afford to buy a brand new timing system. We just got to make this thing work. And anyway, I went out there Sunday morning, and it's like, all right, we're getting things going here. I go to hook up the tree, and when I hooked the serial connection up, it arced, and I was like, oh no, we have a problem. And it cooked the board in the tree, and it cooked the timer box. We had a spare, tried plugging it in. It's not working right. I'm beside myself. I don't know what to do, and to this day, if I'm down there, if there's not noise, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Why don't we have something running? We got to, there's these people that came through the gate. We sold them a wristband. We owe them a show,
Right.
And I turn around, and I'll never forget. I look, and there's this guy standing behind me. I don't know who this guy is. His name's Justin McMurtry. I'm going to call him out.
All right. Yeah.
And he goes, and he's got this backpack on, and I'm like, turn around, and I know he could probably see the look on my face, and of despair.
Right.
And he, need help? I'm like, you know anything about electronics? He goes, I know a little bit. And I come to find out that he's like the MacGyver of technology, right?
Sure.
And
Sure.
and so he goes, well, let me see, So anyway, we find out that we had shook a wire loose that went to the tree from underground inside the conduit. That actually the ground was hot.
Mm.
We ran all night long, and evidently we did just enough vibration that whatever the rats had chewed up over the years, and it was one section that we never replaced because it's underneath the barriers going up to the tree. So he fixes that. We go up in the tower, and he takes those 2 timing system boxes and makes one that works. And I'm
Wow.
like, wow, this guy is amazing. Get this guy's number and keep it on speed dial.
Right.
Right.
This so much because everything had sat for so long. You start running cars down. You have all this vibration, all this stuff. You start shaking things loose, and you start finding the problems. Right. Well, you don't find the problems till you're right in the middle of something. So, I know I said I wasn't going to call anybody out, but I feel like he deserves a special holler because, man, that guy is just.
He's a good dude. Yep.
Yeah.
Forever indebted to that guy. So, we got going and started putting some races on. That's late September, right? So we ran that race. We ran through October, maybe into a little bit in November, and then season's over. So we get ready to get started, and I'm out there and I'm looking around. Well, I'm on the big end of the track, and the asphalt is just coming apart. And so that's when we cut out the asphalt before the second season. We just barely got open.
Yeah.
And had NHRA quality asphalt with their special limestone content, and we had a good smooth flat surface. That's from the concrete work.
Concrete. Okay.
So we're concrete to 300 feet, and AB3 mix underneath it, like 8 inches of AB3 mix that was watered, and everything was laser screeded, so it was good. It's good and flat, and so if you go to that point, you have all these. You think when you start a project like that you've got an idea or a plan of how you're going to do it, and you get so many people behind you, and like I said, we're just so grateful for all the people, but we went from first gear over into fourth gear like that. Everybody's pushing, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this.
Right.
So we, and at the time that we bought the track, I don't know if you guys probably didn't know Dennis Jones, but you'd notice that there's a memorial for him in the first bracket race every season. There's a memorial on the wall in the
Yeah, I've seen that.
And when we bought that place, we show up out there, and I knew Dennis a little bit. He was kind of a quiet guy, but he just started showing up out there. And finally, he's like, "Well, I just want to." I was like, "Can we pay?" No, 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 don't make me mad. You're going to upset me. And we kind of figured out if we want to do anything for Dennis, we had to buy him something so he would take it. And anyway, he said, "No, I'm getting ready to." There it is, right there. And he said, "Well, I'm retiring from work." He retired from work right about the time that we bought the track, and he was just like, "Oh, I just really want to see this thing go, and I'd love to be part of it if you'd have me." And so the initial plan was that we're going to get this thing going, and Dennis is going to manage this place. And while the work's going on out there, Dennis was managing the work, and things were getting done, and he knew a lot, and he had a lot of common sense. He's a hard working son of a gun, but just tremendous attitude this guy had. And anyhow, unfortunately, he never got to see it open. And, he passed away on his birthday, and he had a doctor's appointment that day scheduled. He had told me, he goes, "I'm going to have to take whatever day that was, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, or maybe it was even maybe Friday. I'm going to have to take the day off. I got a doctor's appointment." I said, "I hope that you do." Good grief. I said, "You've been out here 7 days a week since we started this deal. We can't get rid of you. And jokingly, we did not. We loved him. He was just awesome. And So when that happened, it forced us to regroup, and you've got to have key people in key positions, and so we're like, well, what do we do here? And so there was another fellow that was out there, that we had kind of managed the work that was going on when we couldn't be there, because at that point I was rolling in. I'd work all weekend, but then I got to go back to Wichita and run our carpet store, and um, so we finally decided. I just go, look, uh, Dad, you take care of it during the week, and I'll put a schedule together. I'll make sure I'm up on the rules, and I'll run the races, and I'll manage that. So that's how I really got. That was not the original plan,
Right.
and so that's how we got into that scenario. And thankfully things went good. It got bigger and more complex a lot faster than I think that we anticipated. But there again, we had a lot of good people behind us that were, we were. I feel like we were, being very successful, and it was not. It's not all us. I've always said that it's not. It ain't all us. It's the people around. It takes a group. It takes a team. It's a complex machine. Takes a lot of moving. Has a lot of moving parts. And so, and it just keeps getting more and more. It's like the snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up having. Well, I tore my shoulder. I had to have shoulder surgery, and then I had to have that other back surgery, and then I started getting healed up. And Dad was like, "Well, I need to get a hip replaced, but I'm going to wait till you're back up and running so that you could be out here working, and so finally, it just got to a point where we sat down at the end of the season a few years ago, and Dad looked at me and he said, "Son," he goes, I'm getting too old for this," and he said, "I can't keep this pace, and I'm going to have to be done with this." And I said, "Hey, I get it, Dad. I get it. I'm right there with you, though. I've missed a ton of work, and if I'm not at our store, I don't really feel like I do that much there, but I found out later that, by not being there, I was handicapping our business, and um, I said, I need to be there."
Yeah.
And so, as you guys know, we put it up for sale in hopes that maybe somebody that had the greatest of intentions would be interested. But selling a racetrack's not like a car wash or a cheeseburger or an oil change.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a real common purchase. And also, too, you want to make sure that whoever gets involved will keep it going, because we Dad said, "Well, we'll just sit back and we'll put it up for sale, and maybe somebody will get." I said, "Yeah, but we've got to keep this thing moving. Otherwise, we risk losing the momentum that we have worked so hard to build. If the thing sits idle for even half a season, you know, look what you've lost." And I
Mm-hmm.
said, "It's not fair. It's not fair to the people that support us, and it's not fair to all the people that have helped us." He goes, "Well, what's your plan?" I said, "I think we need to hire somebody to run it for us." He goes, "Well, where are you going to find them?" And I said, "I think I have an idea. I made it a point to always make it to, of course, when we were affiliated with NHRA, they have annual track operator meetings. And I was fortunate enough that, Al and Carl, the track operators meeting that's usually over Joplin or Independence, Missouri. It was kind of a group of IHRA guys at the time, but those guys took me under their wing. A lot of things I didn't know, and I would reach out to those guys, and they were always just so gracious to help me. And I've never forgot that, and so they were gracious enough to include me in those meetings too. And so we would go over to those as well as NHRA meetings. But I met a lot of really, really terrific people that had. I found out that I wasn't the only guy that was having these same difficulties
Right.
and dealing with the same stuff. And You know, what do you say when somebody comes up with a time slip and says this? You know, I mean, you know, there's a lot of really, really good information there. And so here we are over in Independence, Missouri, and I meet the Harpers. And at the time, they were running Ottawa, and their owners from Ottawa, Dan and Judy, was there with them. Met them. They're terrific, terrific people. They're not the owners anymore, but that has a lot to do with how I was able to kind of kidnap Harpers and bring them to Kansas. And so didn't really, just kind of made a connection, right?
Right.
And so you fast forward a couple years later, and I finally get a chance to do a little bit of racing. And I'm like, you know, they're gonna have a big money double tech card race up there at Ottawa. I'm gonna go up and try it out. And you know, when you own and operate a drag strip, you look at things completely different when you go to a facility. And so I get up there, I meet my buddy John Moggins, and we're up there, and like, man, you know, this thing went off without a hitch. Everybody had a good attitude. They kept it running. You know, some of the stuff in those double tech card races, it's tough. It's hard to keep track of, you know. And so I was like, you know, they did a pretty good job. I'm just thinking this in my mind. Well, you go, you know, a couple years later down the road, and you know, I'm thinking I need to sit down with these people. I need to have a conversation with these folks. You know, I was going to go back up, and because of my back surgery, I couldn't race. And so my buddy John's up there, and he's like, tells Harper, he goes, "Hey, Chris is looking for somebody to run their place. You guys need to talk." You know, so I guess I got to give Moggin some credit, because
There you go.
he helped swing the door open a little bit further.
Yeah.
And you know, so we talked back and forth, you know, and came to an agreement. And they're like, "Well, can we come down and just watch a race? Just look at the facility, see how things are, see if we could even fit in down there."
Hmm.
Sure. You know, so they came, actually ended up coming down a couple different times.
Hmm.
And always had good feedback, you know, and they always had uh, you know, a lot of good things to say. And we do think a lot alike. And so anyway, we make a deal. And so in the process, they get ready to move down here, and they're like, "Well, we're looking for a house." I was like, "Okay, are you trying to find something to rent or something to buy?" They're like, "You know what? We have never owned a house in our life, and we have decided this is it for us. We feel it just feels right.
Hmm.
This home." And you know, so they bought a house. You know, they bought a house. They live over on the southeast corner of Arc City, and which makes a guy like me feel good, because
True.
they got
Yeah.
a lot of skin in the game. You
Hmm.
know,
Right. Yeah.
and, um, you guys know this, but I mean, people have to understand how hard they work at it. I mean, I get it. Unless you're a guy like me, or Al, or Craven, or Dave Dawkins, or Carl Blanton, you don't see everything. And I'm not trying to sell anybody short, but my goodness, it is a big job, man. It's a ton of work, you know. And they tackle it together. You know, they're a team, and the
Yep.
things that Harper can't do, Gary's proficient. And they're just they're a damn good team, and they work good together. You know, sometimes they get into like a lovers quarrel back and forth and yell at each other a little bit, but it's kind of entertaining sometimes. And I mean that in just good fun, because they really do. They work tremendous together, and they work they work 7 days a week at this job. They're always, you know, "Hey, what do you think if we tried this? What if we tried this? What if we tried this?" And so they've really tried to make a better experience for everybody that comes on the property.
Mm.
And I truly believe that they have, you know. Um, the races get done in a timely manner. It's more organized. I took over the bookkeeping for my dad, and so I mean, I pay all the bills. I see the numbers and all that stuff, which has given me a completely different viewpoint because before dad was doing all that stuff. And you know, we're going in the right direction. I'm tickled that we have them
Mm.
because we were to the point we were just kind of out of gas. You
Mm.
know, needed to breathe some new life into the system, and they've been doing this for what, probably 15 years. So they've got more experience with it than I ever have. And you know, the thing that too that a lot of people still don't understand, Harper went drag racing for a living for several years,
Right.
and he's got enough wallies to line your living room wall. He'd have to dust them off, but and they're in multiple categories, you know. So when you get somebody that comes up and they have this attitude, it's like, well, what do you know? You're just a track operator. You're not really a racer.
Mhm.
Well,
Right.
no, on the contrary, and the guy has taught a lot of people how to race and created a lot of success for them. And so it's just a good feeling having somebody in the saddle that they know what they're doing, you know, because that place for my family, that place means a lot. I mean, like I said, my wife and I started dating in junior high. You know, we've been going out there together since then. All three of my kids were practically born there. You know,
Right.
and so it's a big deal for us that it's open, that it's functioning, and that we have it for everybody, and that we have a good, safe place. And we've been blessed to have just a tremendous crew of people that work out there, and you know, those folks that work out there, they are uh, they're in. You know, they've got to love it because it's weekend work, so you and holiday work, so you
Hot.
lose weekends. It's hot, it's noisy. You know, it's just you got to love it. You know, so yeah. So here I am being windy. I wanted to tell you earlier though. You guys were talking about small block Fords,
Yeah.
and Rodney, you made the comment. You know, air in, air out.
Yeah.
I guess I found out I must be a small block Ford. I was, or if I'd ever amount to anything. Today I found out I'm a small block Ford.
There you go.
Ah, you heard it here, right here.
We'll take it. Come on in.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, what would the track look like out there if you hadn't got hooked up with the Harpers? What would have happened?
Truthfully, the grim reality, it would be sitting there unless we found a good buyer for it that would run it.
Man.
I mean, it's painful for me to say that, but we had just reached a point that, and I don't usually say this stuff because, and you know, Rodney, you and I have had several conversations. I am always trying to be positive, try to take the high road. I really don't get into negativity or anything like some people do, and um, you know, so I don't bring up a lot of this stuff because I don't want it to seem like, oh, he's complaining again. God, he bitches about everything, you know. But in running that place and missing a lot of work too, I mean, not only was it kind of taxing our business because I wasn't there, but um, I'd lost a lot of wages, and I had backed my family into a kind of a bad situation, you know.
Mm.
Um, you know, let's face it, it takes money to live on, and when you go away from a paying job and you're not there, so you don't get paid to go somewhere to work really hard, and we've never taken, honest to God, we have never taken a penny out of that place.
Mm.
Wow.
The money has always gone back against the investment,
Yeah.
and that investment is largely my dad. I mean, he's really, I mean, he's the unsung hero on this thing. You know, he goes along with pretty much whatever, and he's got a lot invested. In comparison to what I have, you know, he is the unsung hero, and I'm tremendously thankful for that. I think a lot of people really need to realize that
Mm-hmm.
this be possible in
Mm-hmm.
any way, shape, or form. But no, we were to the point where it was just like, look, we love the place, we love everybody out there, but at some point you just got to go, man. This is more important. I have to. Um, I've got to be able to support my family,
Mm-hmm.
and it was getting to a point where it's like, man, we're kind of in bad shape here, and it's taken a long time, to get back up on our feet. But we just, we had a love for that place and still do, you know. But yeah, it would be sitting there empty if somebody didn't purchase it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or somebody would have purchased it, and it just, your family, you being, with the store and stuff, it's like we're all family, and I'm saying that for everybody here, and it just would have been different, and
Yeah.
it just call it what you want, just all the stars lined up, and appreciate even the meeting that we were invited to, and got to meet the Harpers
Yep.
on one even before they came here, and and they've hit the ground running.
Yeah,
I'll never
absolutely.
forget that he stood up there and he said, "Just give me a chance. I won't disappoint you."
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that I don't think that you'll find a better surface prep guy.
Mm.
I honestly, I feel a little bit stupid because I'm figuring, oh, okay, well, he's run several racetracks. He knows how to prep a track.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I really was focusing on when we made the deals for them to come in and operate the facility. Just
Right.
needed somebody that had a lot of knowledge and has a lot of knowledge, how the timing system works, how to read a times. I mean, you'd be surprised how many guys you go to a racetrack and the guy running the facility, he doesn't know how to read a time slip.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying because I've seen it.
Yeah.
Um, and there's things that here's the elephant in the room, guys. There's things that happen, and it's so complex. There's so many things could happen. You're out there. It's hot. We're all passionate about what we do. We got a lot of time, money, effort, blood, sweat, and tears invested in it. Something doesn't go right. First thing is tempers get lost. How do you handle that? Can you keep a cool head and be professional, or are you going to lose your temper and make things worse?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I personally, I've had several instances, and you just kind of have to just go, it could be raining cow shit, but you smile and go, man, what a beautiful day it is today.
Right.
And you have to be like that. And I've witnessed things, you get something maybe happens. And of course, without fail, I ran the starting line a bunch and, you know, it happens right out there at the starting line, right in front of God and everybody. And you get somebody that God bless them, but they're just pissed off about something, whether they're educated completely about what caused it or if we screwed up, because we make mistakes.
Sure.
We're not above that. But when you have a situation and somebody charges up there and they're all fired up and you look at and Harper just goes, look, we can talk about this in a few minutes, but this is not the time and this is not the place. As soon as I get finished up running this group, we'll have our conversation and we'll decide what we do. It's just as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
And under any circumstance, how can you have a more legitimate way of handling it? That's just the way it has to be. So instead of, I mean, I'm not going to go very deep into it, but there's other things that, it's just, we're all human. I get it. And it's hot, it's loud, you're wore out, and your emotions can get the best of you in a jiffy.
Sure.
And it's nothing above just being human. So you got to be able to have somebody that can keep a cool head and also too know how to answer the question
Sure.
and be technical enough to be able to answer the question correctly and give that person legitimate, correct information. So
Right.
yeah, it's
No,
a big
it's
deal.
good. It is. That's good stuff. Hey, got a couple comments in. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah. Jasmine says the Harpers have been our saving grace and our best friends.
You see Larry Hunt?
Yep. Larry Hunt says we love bringing Titans to mad. Class act there. You're right, Larry.
No
By the
kidding.
That's right.
Titans, man, what a good group of people. Oh man, what a tremendous show too.
Yeah. No, it's been good. They've welcomed us in, and
They put a lot into that deal.
yeah. No, I'm looking for the future too. And you've been talking, you've been listening to us talking about limited and stuff. And so now that you guys are jumping in on that too, that's that many more races for us. So yeah. Here's one for Troy Aves.
Yep. Yep. Troy says the thing I have always loved about Matt is you never felt like you were expected to be there just because you're local. Chris always made you feel welcome and thanked you for coming. That goes a long ways in just the atmosphere of the track.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well said, Troy. Yep.
Well said. Yeah, because we've been through some tracks. I mean, we travel a lot and out of state and stuff. And, sometimes you might have an issue and you get that feeling like you're bothering them, like what, like you're the customer, but you're bothering them, And so anyway, but I get it. It's all good. But yeah, good energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of a year ago, when Gary was just talking about it, when we kind of started this thing out and we challenged the community to sell out the kitchen, the concessions. And I remember,
That's right.
going in there and because I see Jasmine here, she commented, so it made me think of this story. And I go in there and I look at her, she gave me this look and I was like, how we do? She's like, we made the goal. I was like, all right.
It just it takes a lot of support.
Yeah.
It takes support, and there's a lot of dynamics that you can win as the track can win as far as that, and we need to win a little bit because we've got to have the income to pay the bills.
Sure. It's all business.
There's even more ways that you can lose, and when we've figured that one out too.
So, you've tested it.
The support, I mean, we can't be more grateful,
Yeah.
It's just, we've had so many great people, so much support. And, you bring up the atmosphere, like what Troy said.
Yeah.
It's everybody that's out there though. And, the racers contribute to that too.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody sets the pace. So we've always just tried to create an atmosphere that, when you come on the property, it's just, here we, so let's have a good time. And I know it's serious, but let's try not to be too serious. Let's make sure we're at the same time.
Yeah.
Agree.
I've talked with Rodney about this. We've had this conversation. You see people complain, race is not fun. And it used to be fun, and it's not as fun. It's just blah, blah, this and that. And I told Rodney, I'm like, if you're not having fun racing, you're hanging out with the wrong people.
Right.
It's just something it's wrong. You're just doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're doing it
Find
wrong.
fun people to race with and hang out with.
Go. That's what it's about. Yeah. And just to talk through that, the first event this year was the no prep, and the day was perfect. And the crowd was there. And there's a guy that I follow, I think it's called Forever Grudge or something. He's in the grudge scene. And he always says, we outside. And I love that because that's what he's talking about. We're outside in the atmosphere, energy, and, and it's happening. And it's something that's going on right now. It's just, that maybe we didn't have 20 years ago. And, maybe Street Outlaw started or whatever, but it's just this whole thing is just taken off. And I just happy to be a part of it right now.
Oh, yeah. You guys just help bring light to the sport. I remember growing up, and you're in high school and you tell people, yeah, I race. Of course, half of them didn't believe me.
Sure.
But they're like, yeah, like NASCAR. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not racing. Drag
Right.
racer. And they're like,
Uh,
what's drag racing? And so
Yeah,
it was like when you finally had something on TV that didn't go in circles,
Right.
it was like, wow, this is pretty cool, you know.
Right.
And so it just helps bring more light to this thing, you know. And so that's
You
I'm
bet.
grateful for what you guys do. It just
We
like I
appreciate
said,
that.
it just
We appreciate the partnership, you know, and all the love
Yep.
and energy you guys give and give it right back. Got Tim Webb here. Looking forward to
Yep.
coming on in a couple of weeks. That's going to be
yeah,
good.
we were racing with Tim, and Tim's about to get a handle on that car. And Tim, you're going to be on a better surface
Oh, yeah.
in a couple weeks than you were
Surface.
yesterday. So.
Yeah. Gary, do you see Darren's question here? Maybe Chris can answer that.
Yeah. Yes, I seen that. Darren Kesey says Arc City on the 28th is limited 275 running.
good question. I'm gonna see if either Harper or if Gary's watching. I am not positive. I don't want to answer it wrong.
Right. And
Yeah.
Rodney, I think we've covered this with Harper, right? And because like you asked specifically.
Yeah, that's a no. And there's Gary.
Yeah. Mr. Harper says no.
Yeah. And talking through that, Darren, you know, this event coming up is just going to be the Outlaw. There's also going to be a couple of drag and drive style events with the truck class and a cruise. And then, of course, they got the indexes as well. But next season, they got a sponsorship furniture store out of Oklahoma that's going to provide all of the funding to make sure we have for next year.
Chance, give a high five, Josh Frazee, Garfield Furniture.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And
those guys have helped out a lot.
Yeah. Well, and just talking with that, the collaboration with you guys and the Titans, you know, if they're running, you know, 6 events, you're running 3 or 4, that's, you know, what, 9 to 10 for me, you know, and where I can just go right there, set the car up the same rules and that sort of thing, you know, and for me, you're my local track, you know, it's an hour-ish. And then, you know, then I got Flying H in Tulsa, you know, 2.5 to 4. And so I'm pretty covered. We'll go to Texas as well and play around to some of that stuff. But like, you know, this is even though it's you know, that's our local track and we're having a good time.
We love having you guys.
Yeah.
And Mr.
Go ahead.
Mr. Harper says there is a second chance race for $1,000 in that 28th also. So good to put out and good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Russell Foreman here has a shout here to you guys. Matt is a great track and the track crew is great. Love the atmosphere.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll see Russell Foreman come in a couple weeks too.
Yeah, definitely. And we've all been talking about it. You know, I think, what was it, Gary? Did anybody get in the teens? Was Heckman the 21 or what? I was racing anything, but all that to say, nobody went 99. You know,
a teen. There was Heckman went 17 or 19.
Right.
You know, he went like 198.
And but my point is, no one went 399. So
not even close.
Right. And so, you know, I know there's street machines coming up over there this weekend, but if all the ducks can line up, you know, and if I was in Vegas, I was betting on Harper for the 399. And so if the air's there and the weather's good, that's what I hope the track.
We're getting closer to that time of the year. You know,
yes.
Yeah. The weather is
and on that the second chance for 1,000, Harper says, just to clarify, the first round losers go to second chance for free for that $1,000 second chance. Yep. That's real nice.
Yeah.
Darren Kesey says, like to see same rules set at Titans and all local regional tracks, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri.
Yeah.
That was talked about also, kind of where Flying H will probably be the loose cannon on that with the, you know, with the weights, a little tighter rules and the slicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked to Blake about that as well on the side, and he'll be on next week. We can talk. But yeah, that's what they're doing. Right.
Harper says 5,000 to win small tire on the 28th. Come get it.
Come get it.
Strap on your 3-second boots and come get it.
There you go.
Guys to run in front of a big crowd too. You know, we've
Yes.
There's a little bit of, I think, of misunderstanding between some of the people that have, traditionally that was called Nostalgia Weekend.
Right.
It's the last car show, and it's like a lot of things. It's dwindled down, and it's gotten to where we still would have a few nostalgia style cars show up, but it was getting to where we weren't having many of them at all. And so if you rewind, if you remember, Rodney, we did that shootout that one year.
Yep.
And we had people come. I had people coming up to me going, "Man, that was awesome. You guys put on a show. This was great, and so the idea here is to give you guys an opportunity to run in front of a crowd, and hopefully we draw some extra cars with the larger payouts.
Right.
But also, too, I mentioned earlier, when we sell that wristband at the gate, we're selling them a show.
Yep.
And you guys are the show. We get that. You guys are the show. And so we hope that we get a really, really good turnout spectator wise. There's going to be a lot of people in town because it is car show weekend.
Right.
So send them out. Let's go.
And I've had just people like, "Are you guys closed that weekend? Why aren't you?" It's like, no. Look at the schedule. Just because I didn't look at the schedule. Well, somebody told me you guys weren't having nostalgia races. Well, the flyer is not even done yet, guys. It's a work in progress, and we're going to have one soon. But it's like, you guys want to see some really, really fast hot rods and some cool stuff.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity. So because you guys bring the show. So
I appreciate that. One of the coolest things about your track is the return road. When you can get out of your car and look right there, 4 feet, there's 6-8 kids like waving at you. That is the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
And, just saying hi and give them a thumbs up or a high five. And
you betcha. And especially people bring their kids out. I love it.
Yeah. That's a great
That's
spot
also
to truck up and
Yep. That's a nice treat for the fans too, where you're coming up the return road on that side right there where they're at. They're that close. You're right there. And then people are right there. You go right by and they're
a high five.
Yeah. That's really cool.
There and just to have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harper has a warning here.
Uh-oh.
Harper says, better have those shoes on tight.
Yeah.
Tie them down.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Gary, let's stop for a sec, or go ahead and get this one, then we'll pay some bills.
Yeah. This is about the second chance race. Tim Webb says, I feel the second chance is bigger than a big payout.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's catch one more here. Rick Hodges, after listening to all of this, I think I'm going out tomorrow and back the car out of the trailer and do a little wrenching and polishing. Yes, there you go.
That's it.
That's great.
It's working.
Man, that's good.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Right. So let's take a moment here and bring our sponsors in. Do this every time, Chris.
Yeah, Chris might know a couple of these. Let's see. You might know. Let's give a shout out to our partners in 2024, Mid-America Dragway, Ultra Color Collision Repair, Sandland Iron and Metal, Auto Savage, and Harry Street Carpet. Thank you for being awesome partners in 2024 and hopefully beyond very soon.
And, staying with that for a second, Chris, if I got your permission, I'm going to brag it on you for a minute. After Gary and I kicked this off and we had a few shows and everything, Gary went to StreamYard and we funded it for a little bit and got a little 90-day package or something. And Gary came back to me and said, we can do a gig for a year. And I told him, and I'm just being open here, that I was like, tell me how much you've spent so far. And I know how much I've spent so far. Yep. And Chris was the first person I went to, and I didn't ask all of it from him, but we were just trying to break back even. And so we did a divided by 4, which I figured I'd have, these, companies on our side to keep this going. And, you saying yes that day on the phone just made it happen.
We were pumped, man. We were pumped.
And
I believe in you guys, and I believe in what you're doing. I think it's tremendous.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So we're going to keep it going, and we got we got plans. We kind of want to grow it. We're going to look at some of the marketing partners we got on the side too, with Mel Hamilton and Marty Chance. We're going to start doing some giveaways on the show and that sort of thing, just to have some fun. You've seen Gary also do like your moment of the event he did earlier with the Phillips last weekend. We want to have some stuff like that going. We were wearing these shirts on purpose, just to have some fun and bring some energy into it. But when we also, at first we were talking about the outlaw guys, if you will, but we're, going to bring in all of them in. We already talked to Wes Schote with the 8.5 guy. We're going to bring him on in a few weeks as well, talk about the 8.5 class and the tire, and spread the love for everybody. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, there's no shortage of things to do with this type of platform.
Yeah. But so Chris, now we're at the point where, we just, just dig in your little bag here. Do you have any more, Gary?
Yeah, I lost audio again. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, this sucks.
He had a little deal last week, Chris, too. He thought he got it cleaned up, but where he cannot hear us. So,
Dude. So
Can you hear me?
This is where if you've got something you really want to say about Gary that you don't want him to hear, this is where you say it.
Yeah, that's where you say it now. All the stuff.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Well, keep doing your thing.
Okay, no problem. So, Chris, this is the part where we want to just talk to you and say, hey, like, who do you want to thank? I couldn't be here without these people. These people are in my corner. And if it wasn't for this people, like, we couldn't be doing this. And I know it's a spot to put you under, and but sometimes it's an emotional time for some people. We've seen, grown cry on this deal.
It is. I mean, it's been quite a road that we've been on since 2017. The amount of people involved, like earlier I said, I hate to mention any names because I know I'm going to leave somebody out. And, I guess first and foremost, I guess I need to thank mom and dad for going along with my crazy harebrained idea of getting into the drag strip business, or we wouldn't be sitting here right now. But aside from the sponsorship people, the racers, the support, the fans, my friends, you guys for doing this. And gosh, I have made so many friends from this experience. The other day somebody was like, would you do it all over again? Knowing what it was going to be. And I said, it's a tough yes. But the reason being is it's the people. That's been the biggest thing from the start, is the people. So I'm so thankful that everybody has been behind us, been willing to support us. My family, it's huge because it was all of us working out there. And full disclosure, man, it's tough. It's tough business. And there's been some knockdown, drag out conversations, and it's been some tremendous sacrifices, and the families always went along with it. My kids, God bless them, you make a schedule half a year in advance. You don't have any idea that they're going to schedule a football game that night or a program. And by design, we had to be there. And the kids, they got it. They're like, hey, we understand. Someone's going to record it. And I know for them, it had to hurt.
Right.
Hurt for us too. And so the kids always went along with it. But I got to tell you, first and foremost, I am the most thankful for my wife. She is my backbone. She is my gravity. she's my best friend.
Yep.
You know, we would every race we leave the house at dark 30 in the morning or whatever, and we're heading down there, and just the conversations we have on the way there or on the way home, it's it's just been a tremendous deal to be able to go there and to go there with her. We just this last Wednesday celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
She's a very, very patient woman. I can assure you of that. But yeah, look at those kids.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Congratulations.
She's
definitely the reason I can do what I can do, and she's the reason that I am who I am. Period. So I am most thankful for her. I couldn't do it without her. So yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity to say all that. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you bet. You bet. Well, we appreciate you as well, and appreciate you coming on the show and talking to us tonight, and sharing the pictures and all the stories, and it's been a good time, and we know this hour and a half, 2 hours, is a lot for you, and so it just so it lined up, it's just perfect.
I appreciate the opportunity to get on here. Like I said, I love what you guys do. And I just tell everybody out there, just keep watching, keep supporting it. It's only going to get better from here.
Appreciate that. And I think Gary's still having audio issues, but that's okay. We'll keep working through it. So just to talk to the community, for the next show here, we're going to bring Blake Housley on from Flying H. We'll also recap Street Machines, and then of course the 21st will be the Flying H, and then we'll recap on the that with the Harpers to talk about the weekend of the 28th. So it looks like we still got 3 or 4 weekends coming up of hard racing, and but just looking forward to it. All right. No more comments to come in. The only thing left is Mrs. Harper talking about Rick Hoggs. We missed you. So looks like they need to get back to the racetrack there, and sounds like he's already going to, get that. Yeah, start polishing that thing up and wrenches. So, all right.
Well, maybe show up for that race. There's a 12.0 index. That car runs 1190s. So we just
there you go.
Well, a couple orders of nachos before first round, and it'd run 12 flat.
Get in where you fit in, right? That's it,
Right. And if you completely, just get in anyway.
Yeah. No, that's great. All right. Well, any last comments, Chris? You good?
I'm good. Thank you, guys. It's been an honor. I appreciate it.
All right. No, it sounds good. And Gary, great job tonight too with all the pictures and stuff. We'll get that little audio deal figured out. And we had a great weekend. Thanks for all of them. Everybody went to Tulsa, had a great time at Titans at 10-5. We'll definitely be collecting all the things from Street Machines, and looking forward to it. We got something right here. Jasmine says, well, someone's saying, Dad, if you go, I'll go. So there you go.
Whoa.
All right. Well, all right, everybody. Have a good evening. We'll catch you next week. Thank you.
Take care.